Hey team, inside of this training, we are going to be talking about the importance of a payment terminal. So this is going to be the macro overall understanding. So that way, once we get into the tactical of actually setting up your payment tutorial, right? So your payment terminal, we're going to go ahead and talk about that in just a second. But right now, once you understand the importance of it, then you'll be able to go ahead and really make sure that you set this up properly because you understand where it actually falls in your entire system. So in the previous section, we did go ahead and talk about setting up your payment processor, okay? And now we're going to go ahead and talk about setting up your payment terminal that you're going to run those payments through. So this is what the actual visual looks like, okay? So you have your payment processor, and then on top of your payment processor sits your payment terminal, okay? So that way all of your card transactions, all of your money flows from your terminal into your payment processor, and then the payment processor works with the card companies and the banks in order to be able to go ahead and get that money accordingly, right? Now, it's very important to understand that these are two separate things, your processor and your terminal. In the same way, when you go to a store, right, that machine that you swipe your card on, that's the actual terminal that is then sitting on top of the payment processor. Now, one thing that you should also know is that sometimes payment processors also have payment terminals. So in the case of Stripe, they also do have a payment terminal product. And so now the question you might have is, hey, why don't we just use Stripe as the payment terminal as well as the payment processor? Okay, so again, if you will recall from the previous training, right, we do recommend using Stripe as of right now as the payment processor, but why do we not recommend it to use it as the payment terminal? Why is that the case, right? The reason for that is because yes, it's okay in emergency situations, but it is not recommended for normal situations because number one, there are additional fees. So Stripe, in addition to their processing fee, will charge a payment terminal fee, right? So already we talked about, hey, there's some processing fees that you just cannot get over. You got to get over it. It's just a part of being in business, right? However, if you can try and get away from the terminal fees, why wouldn't you, especially if there are other options? So these small percentages, they can add up. And so it's not that we're just trying to save and not nickel and dime at all, but at the same time, we don't want to be completely oblivious and just be like, oh yeah, you know what, it doesn't matter left and right. There are certain costs of doing business that we have to accept. Payment processing fees, for example. But that does not mean that we should just get gouged everywhere left and right? And so therefore, one of the reasons why we recommend not using Stripe for the payment terminal is because of those additional fees. Another reason is because you don't have that integration with the agreements and the legal side of things, okay? And so what happens is that obviously Stripe is a massive payment processing company. They are not specific to individual business models. There are literally a gazillion different types of businesses that use Stripe. Now, in our business model, right, the one that we're talking about, typically there is going to be a customer onboarding, there is going to be a legal agreement, there's going to be a new client agreement, right? And again, we're going to walk you through all of that and setting all of that up in an upcoming training. But the thing is that there can be automations and integrations with that. Now, Stripe doesn't have anything to do with that. They don't know that that's what you need. And so when you have everything in one place, like we're going to go ahead and recommend in just a second, then you can actually have that integration versus if you use Stripe as the payment terminal, you're not going to have that integration, right? In addition to that, the customer information. So Stripe, they only have access to payment data. They are not connected to the customer messages, the interaction, if the customer has to change their payment date, all of that. They have no idea what's going on inside of your business platform with the customer data, with the CRM. And so as a result, if you try and use Stripe as a payment terminal, which again is not what we recommend, it's only for emergency use cases, right? Not to run your business day to day, then they are not going to have access to that customer integration. Now, in addition to that, now, of course, there's many reasons why you wouldn't want to use Stripe as a payment terminal. But in addition to that, one more is that there's no automations, right? So if a customer's payments fails, you have no way to be able to automatically put them into a failed payment campaign. You got no way to be able to communicate with them through text or email because Stripe, again, is, yes, they're primarily a payment processor. That's the bulk of their business. They don't do payment terminals as the bulk of their business. And so that's why it's much better to use a tool that is going to allow you to have better invoicing, better automation, better customer data, and all of that. Okay, so what is our recommendation instead? We recommend that you use your business platform and your CRM as your payment terminal and have that connect to Stripe on the back end. And again, don't worry, we're going to show you how to be able to do all of this. So I know it sounds a little bit technical, but trust me, it's not. You're going to be able to learn this as a new professional business owner, okay? And so this is what that's going to look like. You're going to have your business platform, okay? And your business platform is going to house your customer data, and it's also going to be used as your payment terminal, right? So if you have a very good business platform and you do exactly how we recommend, then you're going to be able to have all of this set up properly, because our recommendations, we've thought about this, we've been in the industry for a very long time. We know what the best recommendations are because we've done the hard work already to figure this out, right? So we know, hey, what are the business platforms that are going to have the terminal, that's going to have the integration, it's going to have the customer data. It's a system that you can just plug and play and run with your business and worry about the things that you need to actually worry about in your business, okay? So you have the business platform, and that is then what's sitting on top of your payment processor, okay? So when you get your payment terminal built into your business platform, it's all connected to your customer data, and you get the best of both worlds, right? And that's all connected to Stripe on the back end. So you still get the ease of use that Stripe allows you to be able to get up and going as a new business owner without ever having to actually log into Stripe, because all of that is shown inside of your business platform, okay? So a good business platform will also have invoicing. So I know we've been talking about the payment terminal. So payment terminal is kind of like where you go ahead and have the customer charge the card, right? But then invoicing, in addition to that, is sometimes a separate software, right? So being able to send the email invoice out, have all of that connect, XYZ. So a good business platform will, in addition to the payment terminal, also include the invoicing software. So all of that is under one house. So it's very easy for you to go ahead and text or email the invoice, especially if you're doing high ticket sales, to your clients. And then you can have all of that attached to your legal agreements as well. So again, if you have a very good business platform, that's going to also, again, save you from having to purchase another software that could be an additional $20 to $50 per month just for an invoicing software. So then you're going to have an invoicing software here, and you got a payment terminal here, then you got your payment processor here, then you got your legal and contracts in another software. It's better to have it all housed inside of a business platform and all in one place. And so that's the reason why we do the vetted work, and that's why we recommend ClientKit. Okay, so what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and walk you through how to get this set up inside of ClientKit and how to be able to get the invoicing and payment terminal set up. But this specific training video that we were talking about is just the importance of the payment terminal, what the payment terminal is, where it houses itself, and some of the things that you want to be working through. Because remember, like, hey, you're a business owner, you're going to be a business owner, hopefully for a very long period of time in your career, right? And so, yes, right now, we are your mentors, we're your educators, we're walking you through this process. But you want to understand how all of this works in a business perspective. So independent of the business platform, independent of ClientKit, independent of us, independent of anything, you have acquired the skill and understanding to be able to go out there and do this for yourself. And that is what is paramount. And that is what is number one, the most important thing, right? And so that's the reason why we want to make sure that we are educating you, not just tying you to our hips and saying, hey, do this, do this, do this. And then you're so zoomed in that when you zoom out, you're like, okay, I have no idea how or why any of this actually works or why it was important. So when you do it properly, that is when you're acquiring the skills as a business owner. And guess what? Those skills that you learn as a business owner are what cannot be taken away from you, regardless of the economy, regardless of the country, regardless of the government. It's the skills that we acquire as business owners in terms of understanding how and why and how everything works that allows us to be able to be recession proof. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and cut out over here, and we're going to go over to the next training, which is going to be talking about the how-to step-by-step tactical of getting your payment terminal set up. We will catch you in the next training.